Every night hides a story, waiting for someone to listen. In the quiet between dreams and dawn, voices rise, weaving love, mystery, and magic into words that breathe. You're listening to Epic Tales Audiobook, where imagination has no limits. And every tale begins with a heartbeat. It was one of those nights when the rain wouldn't stop whispering secrets to the glass. The kind of night when silence feels heavier than words, and the world outside seems to breathe slower. Inside a forgotten library at the edge of the city, a young woman named Elara sat surrounded by endless shelves of dust and dreams. She was the kind of person who preferred the company of books to people, and the library had become her refuge from a world that moved too fast. The library itself was strange. No one remembered when it was built or who owned it. It didn't appear on maps, yet somehow it was always there, waiting for those who needed to be found. Elara had spent months restoring old collections, cataloging stories no one cared to read anymore. And yet, she felt that somewhere in those brittle pages, something was waiting for her. That night, as the clock struck midnight, she noticed a book she had never seen before. It sat perfectly centered on a table that had been empty moments ago. The cover was deep black, like the sky before a storm, and across it, in faint gold letters, were the words, "Fortunes Beyond Flesh." She hesitated. The air around her felt different, as if the library itself was holding its breath. And then, curiosity, that old, gentle troublemaker, won again. She opened the book. The moment the pages parted, the candle beside her flickered violently, and a soft hum filled the air. The scent of old paper faded into the smell of rain-soaked forest. She blinked, and when her eyes opened again, the shelves were gone. The ceiling had turned into a sky full of stars, and the floor beneath her was no longer wood, but grass glowing faintly under her feet. Before her stood a forest, silver with mist and humming with unseen life. And in the distance, a tower of crystal reaching toward the moon. Elara's breath caught. She thought she was dreaming. But everything, the cold breeze, the heartbeat echoing in her chest, felt too real to be imagined. Then, out of the shadows came a voice. It was soft but certain, the kind of voice that carried both command and sorrow. The figure that stepped forward was tall, dressed in black, his eyes a pale shade of silver that seemed to reflect her thoughts back at her. He spoke her name, though she had never told him. "Elara," he said, "you opened my book." And just like that, she understood. She hadn't found the book. The book had found her. The stranger introduced himself as Lucien. He said he was the keeper of this place, Elarion, the realm of forgotten wishes. A world, he explained, born from every human desire that was ever abandoned too soon. Every time someone wished deeply and then let go, that wish came here, forming fragments of this shimmering, half-living world. Lucien said that once, long ago, he was a man from her world, a man of immense wealth and ambition. A billionaire, they called him, but he disappeared without a trace a century ago. History said he died. Legend said he went mad. The truth was far stranger. He had built a machine, one capable of turning imagination into matter, a device to make dreams real. But when he used it, it didn't give him power. It gave him a doorway, and it led here to Elarion, where he had been trapped ever since. He called himself the custodian of lost dreams, the one who kept the balance between creation and chaos. And now, somehow, Elara was standing in his world. As they walked together through marble gates and over bridges made of starlight, Lucien explained that he had been waiting for someone with the mark of the Creator. Elara didn't understand, until he gently turned her wrist toward the moonlight. There, faint and golden, glowed a symbol she had always thought was just a birthmark, a spiral encircled by a ring. Lucien's eyes softened. It was the same mark, he said, carried by the one who could awaken the lost fortune, the pure creative force that once built Elarion itself. He told her that she was chosen not by him, but by the world itself, the final piece of a cycle that had begun long before her time. As they moved deeper into the realm, Elara began to see memories suspended in the air, fragments of lives that once were. Children laughing in gardens, inventors dreaming over blueprints, lovers whispering promises beneath floating lanterns. Each image shimmered like smoke, then faded. Lucien told her these were all people whose dreams had created this world. People who had wished, then forgotten. And each time a dream was abandoned, a part of Elarion died. Elara began to notice something else too, the way Lucien looked at her. There was recognition in his eyes, a haunting familiarity. He spoke with the tenderness of someone who remembered her from another lifetime. And one night, as the stars drifted low and the wind sang through glass towers, he told her the truth. Once, long ago, there had been another Elara, a woman from his world. She had been his muse, his partner, his heart. Together, they had built the dream engine that opened the doorway to this realm. But when it malfunctioned, it tore them apart. He had been trapped here in the world of dreams. She had been reborn century after century, carrying fragments of that same light within her soul. Lucien smiled, but there was pain in it, the kind that comes from waiting lifetimes to see a familiar face again. And now, she was here, different but the same, the creator reborn. Days in Elarion didn't follow the rules of time. Sometimes hours felt like centuries, and sometimes years seemed to pass between heartbeats. But in that timeless place, something began to awaken, not just within Elara, but in the realm itself. Colors deepened. Trees began to bloom again. The faint hum of creation stirred in the air. Lucien told her that her arrival was rekindling the world, and that soon she would have to choose. The choice was cruel, as such choices always are. She could stay and keep Elarion alive, or she could return and awaken its reflection in the mortal world, restoring the dream engine and freeing every forgotten wish trapped in silence. But leaving meant losing Lucien forever. Elara hesitated. She had spent her whole life feeling invisible, and now she had found someone who saw her beyond the surface, someone who existed in the spaces between stories. Yet, she knew, if she stayed, she would only preserve a dream. If she returned, she could create a reality. Lucien understood her silence. He told her that love that cages itself isn't love at all. It's memory pretending to live. He placed his hand over her heart, and she felt the same golden light pulsing inside her chest that once glowed on her wrist. He told her, "When you open the book again, you'll find me in the places you create, in every dream you dare to make real." Then the world began to tremble. Towers cracked, and the stars started to fall like rain. The portal was opening. Lucien stepped back, smiling softly, not with sorrow, but peace. And before Elara could reach for him, the world dissolved into light. When she awoke, she was back at her desk. The candle still burned beside her, steady and calm. The book lay open in front of her, its pages blank, except for one line written in shimmering gold. "Fortune favors those who remember where it began." For a moment, she thought it had all been a dream. But when she touched her wrist, the mark was gone. And yet, she felt different, lighter, brighter, as if the air itself hummed in her chest. In the years that followed, Elara built something remarkable, a foundation that helped inventors, artists, and dreamers bring their forgotten visions to life. People said she was mysterious, that she had an uncanny sense for what the world needed before anyone else did. Her company grew beyond measure, its wealth flowing not from greed, but from creation itself. And through every success, she felt him, in the gentle pull of intuition, in the spark that came before every idea. Some said she had a silent investor, a man who never appeared in person, but whose influence guided every move. They called him the Secret Billionaire. Elara never denied it, because deep down, she knew the truth. Lucien was still with her, not in body, but in the living memory of the dream they built together. And sometimes, on stormy nights when the city fell silent, she would sit by her window and watch the rain trace stories down the glass. And for a brief moment, reflected in that silver light, she would see him, standing beside her, smiling, as if to say that some worlds never truly end. They simply change shape, from dream into destiny. And so another story finds its end, but its echo still lingers in your thoughts, your heart, and in the spaces between silence and wonder. Thank you for listening to Epic Tales Audiobook. Until we meet again, keep dreaming and keep the stories alive.